What was your life like back in Hungary, and why did you decide to move to Australia?
Well, I was not born in Hungary. I am Hungarian, a proud one too. But I was born in Istanbul, in Turkey. And I lived there till age 21, when, upon the Turkish authorities rejecting my application for citizenship, I decided to go to the new world, to a new world country, to America, Canada, or Australia. And Canada, I applied to go to Canada, and they had, at the time, in 1959, they had a severe unemployment, and they froze all applications, and they told me to reapply a year later. I happened to speak French. I went to French high schools, primary, mid schools and high schools, so I am fluent in French. Anyway, Australia, I applied to Australian authorities. I had to be sponsored, and I applied to the Roman Catholic Church, and thanks to the Hungarian Roman Catholic priest in charge of our congregation, small congregation in Istanbul, he corresponded with the Roman Catholic Jesuit order here in Australia, and I got sponsorship. I was unknown to them, and they sponsored me. So I got the boat. I was 21. As I said, I lived in Turkey 21 years, and as a foreigner, as a stateless immigrant, so to speak, that was my status, immigrant. I was a stateless Hungarian. They never gave me Turkish citizenship, so I had to find myself a future. We were a well-to-do family. My father was an industrialist invited by the Turkish government. He went to Turkey and settled in Istanbul back in 1928. We were born there before the war, and we waited for the end of the war. Turkey was a neutral, safe country. We had a good life, relatively speaking. And after the war, my parents wanted to go to Hungary, but seeing the condition of Europe and all sorts of troubles, and the ruthless communism and the Russians, they decided to stay on, and that's how we started our education in Istanbul, going to French schools. Anyway, I came to Australia, sponsored by the Catholic immigration. I landed in Adelaide after a month, almost a month, 26 days of cruising across half the world through the Suez Canal, and I landed in Melbourne. Then I went to Adelaide, which is the place of my sponsors, and I started working in odd jobs. Within 2 weeks, they found me a job. I had a high school qualification, and I had even a technical college certificate, a low-level certificate, but nevertheless I was able to handle accounting matters. It wasn't a degree anyway, so I started working in menial jobs as a cleaner, as a caretaker, this, that, all sorts of jobs that I hated doing, but I had to do. I considered it my national service, so to speak, and I was prepared to put up and learn English to speak fluently, because although we had one lesson a week in English, at least I was able to speak something, which over the time and years, I bettered my skill.
Sorry, Attila, I might just jump in. What is it that you think Australia has done for you?
I think I owe Australia. I'm very grateful. Australia gave me a great opportunity to engage in all sorts of work. And in my time, when I arrived, work was aplenty everywhere, and they were looking for people. And then I moved on from one place to another, always getting better. And I went to technical college in Sydney, obtained my certificate, and then moved on. I became executive in the accounting field, married, had 4 kids, and things like that. So I'm very grateful because I have a safe and secure retirement today, and I had a safe and secure life and happy life until my breakup in marriage, which lasted 32 years. But anyway, that's another thing. You can cut it out, perhaps.
Yeah, that's okay. So Attila, how did you first learn about the Immigration Bridge project?
Well, I found out when Canberra, a friend of mine, a Hungarian, whom I met in Sydney. At the time I was in Sydney. I lived in Sydney, by the way, and came here only 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 1995. And in Sydney, a Canberran Hungarian friend told me about the project. And he said that, would you be interested? I said, of course I would. I want my name to be, engraved for my descendants to feel proud and have a legacy kind of in a national monument. And so that's how I heard of it. And later on, I got in touch with the authorities, with the immigration people, the immigration monument, national monument campaigner, and I received these brochures and sent them the money and found out exactly what's what. But that's it, so that's how it started.
And so what happened after you donated the money?
After I donated the money, I never heard of them, other than I received a certificate, an acknowledgement certificate, signed by a very high retired general of the Australian Army. And I was proud and pleased, and I thought that we will see the monument very soon, within a year or two, but nothing happened. This is September, mid-September 2018, and there is nothing whatsoever.
And when did you stop hearing what was going on with it? When was your last correspondence about it?
The last time I contacted them was about 2 years ago. I never even got a reply. I never got a reply.
How do you think the people behind the immigration place have managed this whole thing? Has it been managed well or not so well, do you think?
Well, it was going very, very well at the beginning until 2015 and all that. And then suddenly, most abruptly, everything ceased. And I never heard of them and never responded to my... I let it go. I thought perhaps too jumpy. And in 2016, I think I made a fresh query. I think it was 2 years ago, and never even got a reply. So I was very upset, really upset, because I was really I had my heart in this project. It was a project, a national project, to cover all migrants. Doesn't matter, no matter whether they were of their ethnicity, religion, or race, whatever. It was to honor all immigration since the first white man stepped on Australian soil. And this is why I thought that, well, I am one of them, and why not have my name inscribed in a plaque for $100. And I thought that it was a great idea. I still think it is. And this is why I want to get to the bottom of it, like everyone else interested in the issue.
So, Attila, is it fair to say that you're disappointed with how the whole thing was managed?
It was great until 2015, and suddenly it was a big nothing. A dead end. I never heard of them. Nobody mentions them. Nothing happens. Nobody follows it up. So in desperation, I turned into my local MP, Andrew Wilkie, who took up the matter, and he obtained replies, which he forwarded to me, the copies he received from Canberra, and nothing gave any explanation as to what happened, what stage it is at, or whether it's been cancelled or what. It's a big unknown, and in desperation, he is up just as annoyed as I am. He referred to the Australian Federal Police, and they have undertaken to look into it at this stage, and that was 2 months ago. We haven't heard of them yet, and I made a fresh inquiry a couple of weeks ago to Andrew Wilkie's office, to Lizzie, and she said to me, "We will let you know if we get anything." But at this stage, we are awaiting their response, just as you. I'm not making any allegations of anything, but I want to know what happened to the project, much less other worries, you know.
Do you, Attila, still have hope that this memorial will actually be built?
I hope so. I hope so. If it's going to be built, because they have design, drawing approved, and it's ready to go. Perhaps there is no money to fund it. If that's the case, perhaps they should make a fresh appeal to top up the existing funds. Where are the existing funds? I don't know. They never sent to the contributors their report, their annual report, or anything like that. So all the contributors, and I'm talking about tens of thousands, are in the total darkness. And this is ridiculous. It's unacceptable in this day and age. People getting away like that. There must be accounting. There must be some accounting to someone, to some authority. We shouldn't refer to the police, you know, to the Australian Federal Police. So it's not right.
Do you think Attila, it should definitely still be built?
A bigger one?
Do you think it should be built?
Yes, definitely, absolutely. Yes, this is why I'm pursuing it. Not because I had contributed $100.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions that I have, Attila. Is there anything else you wanted to stress or emphasise?
No, I hope that this will help everyone in the nation, especially those who had contributed, to see the outcome of this inquiry of mine. And I hope it will be positive, and we'll see the National Monument in Canberra in the Parliamentary Triangle sometime in future. Thank you.
One day.
One day, yes.
Great. That's perfect. Well, we will get a few shots of you pottering around what we call overlay. I think we'll get you just kind of perusing